Learners, you're welcome to this lesson. Once again, let me hope that you are okay. We are going to look at, before we look at the importance of organic matter, in the previous lesson we looked at an experiment. I talked about an experiment to determine the presence of organic matter. So when you look at the experiment, let me hope that, dear students, you actually understood at least something about the experiment on how you can tell that there is presence of organic matter in the what? In the soil. So today we are going to look at the importance of organic matter. Yeah, so what is the importance of organic matter, dear learners? One of the importance is that it is food and shelter for soil organisms. I don't know whether, dear students, you knew that the organic matter is the food for these soil living organisms, and it is also shelter for these living organisms. So it is very important because the organisms consume it and also live in soil organic matter. Then we are saying that it provides plant nutrients. Remember, organic matter is composed of very many things, very many materials that produce different nutrients which are necessary for the growth of plants. So when you combine the plant residues, you combine animal residues and other materials, when they decompose, they release different nutrients which are very useful for the growth of our crops. And then 3, we are saying that it improves soil structure. Remember that organic matter helps in binding the soil particles together, thus improving on the what? Improving on the soil structure. And then we are saying that it holds soil, air, and water, yeah, because it is a place which contains air and water, and we all know that the air and water is essential for the growth of plants and the survival of what? Of these living organisms found in the soil. And then next we are saying that it gives the soil a dark color, which enables it to absorb sunlight, because we know that also light is very important in the soil because it improves on the temperature found in the soil, and the temperature is also very good in the soil. So when the dark color is found there, it means that it can be able to absorb light, and that will improve on the soil temperature. And then lastly, we are saying that it controls soil erosion. Why are we saying that it controls soil erosion? Because organic matter helps in binding soil particles together, which controls soil erosion. Then we are going to talk about soil water. This is also another component of soil. We are saying that water moves from water bodies, plants and soil, to the atmosphere and then back to the soil. So you're saying that water moves from the water bodies, plants and soil to the atmosphere, and then it goes back to the soil. Then we are saying that it keeps changing from liquid to gas to solid and then back to liquid. So there are those changes that take place during the formation of water. So we are going to look at soil water in the soil. We are going to see how soil moves from the water bodies, how it moves from plants and the soil to the atmosphere, and then we see how that water goes back to the soil. We have what we call the water cycle. We have the water cycle. Think, dear learners, you can look at the diagram there. It is what we call the water cycle. So dear learners, try to observe very well what I've been telling you, that the water moves from the water bodies. I think you can look at our diagram there. There is what we call water body. We said that it moves also from plants. We have some examples of plants there. Though the animals, the soil is not it cannot be seen, but it can also move out of the soil. So we have plants, we have water bodies, we have the soil. So those are some areas where water can come from, and then it goes to the atmosphere. Now when you look at this water cycle, we have plants. When you look at plants, there is transpiration that takes place. That is when the water vapor moves from the plant to the atmosphere. And then we have water bodies still. Evaporation will also take place, where water is going to evaporate from the water bodies, and then it goes to the atmosphere. And then when you look at our arrows also moving, we have the sun. The sun will do what? The sun will heat the plants. It will also heat the water bodies. So during that heating, that will cause what we call evaporation, which will help in condensation to take place, where the water will condense in the atmosphere, and then there is what we call precipitation, which will take place. So the water will change, and then it will fall down again in form of precipitation or rain. So you can see some of those processes taking place. It is also what we call percolation, where the water is going to, when it rains, water goes into the soil, and when it goes into the soil, still the sun will hit the soil and evaporation will take place. So it is the sun that will help in heating, and then it will cause evaporation to take place and also transpiration to take place. And then you are still, when you look at this cycle, that's why we say that it is a process. You'll find that when rain falls, it will fall, and then the soil will get water, the plants will also get water, and then the water bodies will also contain water. But still evaporation will take place, evaporation and transpiration will take place, and then when it takes place, still the water will move to the atmosphere, and then condensation will take place in the atmosphere, and then afterwards, that's where you find that again the water will do what? Will change, and then it will change and then become rain. It falls again. So that's why we are saying that it is a water cycle. It keeps on changing. So from the atmosphere to the soil, from the soil to the atmosphere. So dear learners, that is what I can talk about the water cycle. And then ending the lesson here. Hope to meet you next time. Thank you very much for listening.